The proposals that they're bringing are horrendous enough for us to do that, and we should do that.
What's horrendous about the CR? It continues funding the government at Biden.
Horrendous about the CR is that it is a cut.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
That everything has gone up.
Now you're changing. It's not a cut. You're being dishonest.
It's a cut.
It's not a cut. It's not a cut. You voted to shut down the government. You voted to lay off every veteran in the federal government. You're making a passionate plea for why Democrats didn't shut down the government. And I'm just confused because last week I was told that people going and expressing their First Amendment rights was part of their democratic and civic duty. And now Chuck Schumer can't even have a book party with Democrats over it. I'm trying to decide.
We really don't deserve him. I mean, every night, Scott Jennings sits at that round table and completely eviscerates the leftists who surround it. He's a one-man wrecking ball. Speaking of, we got a flurry of new polls and voter registration data that shows that the midterms are shaping up to be an absolute bloodbath for the Democrats, and we're going to see exactly why. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to celebrate the dawn of a new golden age that you made possible on November the 5th, which is increasingly looking like it is just the beginning. Now, before we dive in here, springtime is right around the corner, and if you're like me, are you finding that allergies are turning your nights into a nightmare? Well, meet Sambrosa Sweet Dreams Night Syrup. This, gang, is your ticket to a sleep paradise. This isn't just any syrup. It's a unique blend of pure natural honey, soothing organic herbs, and a touch of doxylamine, a trusted antihistamine that tackles those pesky nighttime symptoms. Whether it's sneezing, congestion, or itchy eyes keeping you up, Sambrosa's got you covered. Take it before bed and let its gentle formula help you drift off and stay asleep. This stuff is amazing. You wake up feeling refreshed, not groggy, and the best part, it starts at just $11.99. No prescriptions, no hassle, just natural relief. Visit the link below and use code Turley for 25% off and finally enjoy the sleep you deserve. Click on that link below right now. All right, we've got so much going on here, gang. Let's start with the latest polling from Atlas Intel. Now, if you don't know, Atlas Intel was the single most accurate pollster from 2020. They were among the top most accurate pollsters of 2024. Take a look at their latest opinion polling. They got a slew of new polls coming out today. Right now, President Trump has an above water approval rating of 52%. So that's right in the sweet spot of presidential approval in the 50s, hitting mid-50s, which is consistent with a number of other polls that we've been seeing that are far more trustworthy ones, unlike the NBCs and the Quinnipiacs who were telling us that Kamala Harris was going to win in a landslide. They're pure nonsense. They're not polls, they're propaganda. Trump is definitely sitting solidly in the mid-50s for approval, which corresponds with the popular vote that he won in November. Now, take a look at this. In a hypothetical 2024 matchup, Atlas Intel is showing J.D. Vance clocking in at 51% support, while Gavin Newsom can't even break the 30s. He's at 29. That's a 22% advantage for JD. JD's lead margin is almost as much as Newsom's total support. And that's the pattern that we're seeing when we compare Republican leadership to Democrat leadership. So take a look at this. Trump and Vance are polling higher now than any other single Democrat leader. They're polling higher than Barack Michelle. They're polling higher than AOC. They're polling higher than Cackles Kamala, obviously, or Biden for that matter. Atlas Intel has Biden stuck in the low 30s. He has never been able to recover from that position ever since the disastrous Afghanistan pullout in August of 2021. He's been locked in the 30s. His presidency never recovered, alas. Of course, you got Newsom. And then, interestingly, Hillary Clinton, she's at the bottom. She's in the 20s as well. So the Democrats literally have no bench right now. No one can compare to either our current president or our future president in 2028. Now, take a look at the shifting electoral map for 2026. This is amazing. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to keep an eye on the trends that are going on here. Red states are absolutely exploding in population, all the while blue states are completely dissipating. So both Texas and Florida are on course to pick up 4 electoral college seats each, and deep red Idaho, Utah, and increasingly red Arizona are all poised to pick up 1 seat each, whereas deep blue California, Oregon, Illinois, New York, they're all losing seats. So that's the trend. That's the trajectory we're seeing. Red states are gaining seats. Blue states are losing them. This is also why the Democrats simply can't win back the Senate for the foreseeable future, because when all is said and done, there are simply more red states than there are blue states. And even the blue states themselves are shifting red. Case in point, take a look at what's happening in California. Look at this, gang. This year, in just the last 2 months, California voter registration is showing an absolute Republican surge, with the GOP gaining 138,000 voters, all the while Democrats added just 12,000. The Republicans have netted over 120,000 more voter registration than Democrats in freaking California. Now, this GOP advantage becomes even more dramatic when you realize how many Republicans have left California over the last decade. I mean, think about it. You had the left UG crisis from California, where conservatives left the state and moved to Texas, Tennessee, Florida. And ironically, again, in contrast to a lot of the concerns, ironically, they made those states even more red, deeper red. Of course they did. And we've got studies from that, particularly from the 2018 election between Beto O'Rourke and Ted Cruz in Texas. It was actually the California transplants, the left UGs, that voted en masse for Cruz, giving him the edge, the slight edge, 2 points over Beto O'Rourke. And of course, that originally meant that, by contrast, California would turn even deeper blue. But now, as of November, we're finding it's the opposite that's happening. California is actually becoming more red, which means that the left behinds there are actually turning more and more towards Trump and the MAGA movement. So this is why Fox News is reporting, as of today, that Republicans are poised to actually expand their majority in the House. They're targeting 26 vulnerable Democrat seats that they believe they can flip. And if these trends that we're seeing remain operative, I think they can flip a lot more than that. I mean, when you're seeing California turning red all throughout the state, I mean, all bets are off. Something is happening here. And I actually don't think we have to look any further than what's happening at our southern border to see why so many voters are turning towards the new Trumpified Republican Party. Now, remember, Trump has an 80+% approval of what he's doing at the southern border. Well, take a look at the unparalleled success that is garnering that approval. This is data from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Take a look at what you did as of November the 5th. This graph is a comparison of year-to-year illegal border crossings that Border Control encountered in the single month of February. So the first 4 blocks you see in red are Trump's first 4 years in office. So as you can see, in February 2017, attempted illegal border crossings were just over 18,700. Then there was an uptick in February of the following year, 2018, with just over 26,600. There was a spike in the following year in February of 2019 with almost 67,000 attempting illegal border crossings. And then a significant drop in February 2020 was slightly over 30,000. Then take a look at the 4 blue graphs. I mean, seriously, this is shocking beyond belief. In February, just 1 month after Biden took office, okay, the final February of Trump's first term was 30,000 illegal border crossing attempts. 1 year from then, after Biden took office, illegal border crossings shot up to over 97,000. The following year, they surged to nearly 160,000. Again, this is in a single month alone in February. Followed by the next year of 130,000. And then last year at this time, 140,000. Insane. But then take a look at the data that came in just days ago, February 2025. Look at this. That 140,000 illegal border crossings from last year dropped to just 8,000 attempts. 8,000 in the entire month. We have never seen border crossing this low in decades. 8,000 were crossing per day under Biden. Now it's down to 8,000 in a single month. This is a tale of two different presidencies, two fundamentally different presidencies. One who upheld and continues to uphold his constitutional obligations and protect the border. The other who ironically violated his constitutional oath and rendered our southern border wide open. And yet, let's not forget what we were treated to this exact time last year. Do you remember something called the bipartisan Senate border bill, right? That would supposedly give President Biden the power and authority, I kid you not, the power and the authority that he needed to shut down the border. Take a look at this monstrosity.
A potential bipartisan border deal in the Senate is already drawing reaction from the Republican frontrunner for president, Donald Trump, who is urging GOP members of Congress to kill the deal, despite no details being officially released yet.
A lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay, please blame it on me. I'd rather have no bill than a bad bill.
The deal would require Homeland Security reject migrants when there are spikes in crossings, raise the standard for asylum seekers, and expand fast-track deportations.
And did you notice, by the way, that bipartisan bill had a provision that gave Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the authority to shut down the border, but only when illegal crossings reached 5,000 in a day. In a single freaking day. If the crossings hit 5,000 in a single day, then yeah, go ahead and completely shut down the border. But 3,000, 4,000, 4,500, no problem. Keep it going. Just another day at the southern border. I mean, this was the kabuki theater that we were treated to this exact time last year. This was the out-and-out lie that Biden, establishment Republicans and Democrats, and the legacy media teamed up to push on us. And you'll notice one man stood in the way of all of that. And who was that? Who was it that said, sure, go ahead and blame me for the bill's failure. Go ahead. I'd rather have no bill than a bad bill. Who said that? It was, of course, none other than Donald J. Trump, who within 48 hours of assuming office did what every single president in the history of our nation has the authority already invested in him to do. And that's, of course, to shut the border and deport those here illegally. There was never, not at any moment ever, any reason or excuse for Congress to even remotely act on this. The executive power of the United States government has authority over border and national security. And almost everything that we heard in that clip was nothing more than an out-and-out, bold-faced lie repeated over and over again by the legacy media. And the beauty of it all is that the American people didn't buy it. You did not buy it. November 5th demonstrated for the political establishment and the legacy media that their power to persuade, their power to manipulate public opinion has eroded beyond repair. To me, this is what made November 5th particularly beautiful. After all the lying, after all the deceiving by the Washington establishment and their mouthpieces in the legacy media who do not speak truth to power, but rather speak the power's truth, we gave President Trump the biggest landslide victory of any Republican presidential candidate in 2 generations. He won the popular vote. He won every single swing state. Not even Barack Obama was able to do that. Virtually every county in the nation swung right. We won the Senate, we won the House, we won the majority of governorships, we won the majority of state legislatures. I think this is precisely why the legacy media and the Democrats look so completely deflated today. For 4 years, they engage in the biggest 24/7 propaganda psyop of all time, trying to convince us that a weekend at Bernie's president was the most vibrant man who's ever held office, that this economy was the single greatest economy that we've ever seen, and stop worrying about the southern border because, after all, President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas, they both tell us it's absolutely secure. And if they say it, we believe it. And you should too, conspiracy theorist. After 4 years of 24/7 nonstop propaganda, the nation delivered Trump his biggest victory ever. And if all the data that we're now seeing is any indicator, that landslide victory of 2024 looks like it's the first of many more to come for a revitalized America First GOP.
We will stand bravely, dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
Wow, it's such an exciting time to be alive. As we speak, America is regaining its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, and prosperous nation on earth. We have so much to celebrate already. Safer borders, the dismantling of DEI, permission to drill, baby, drill, and $1 trillion in new investments released into the economy. We stand on the precipice of what will be known as the most prosperous time in American history. The only question is, will you be an active participant in the golden age, or will you sit passively on the sidelines watching everyone else build wealth? If you want to be a part of the former, then I urge you to join me and my good friend Mark Wilburn at the Golden Age Summit on Thursday, March 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Mark is a stock market expert whose recent recommendations have led to returns of over 200%. He's an amazing teacher and has a knack of demystifying the market so everyday Americans can participate in this golden age we're now in. But don't wait. Seating registration is limited, so click on that link below right now and register today, and I'll see you for an event that promises to change your life.